the button. Welcome to the Republic of Middle-Aged Men. Guys, thanks for joining us. As normal, we have myself, Tim, you have Lachlan.
G'day.
And Ruben.
Hello.
It is 9:15 on a Sunday night. We're all parents and full-time workers and a bit tired.
This is true.
But we're here. We're making the effort. Because it feels like a while. I just checked. It's been 2 months since we did an episode for various reasons.
Yeah.
And when you guys messaged today saying, are we on tonight? I was like, oh, I could go to bed early. But I decided not to. I thought, no, we've got to do it. So we are up to book 4, part 3. But before we kick that off, we need to stick to our traditions, because I do like tradition. I am drinking beer tonight. Here's one I prepared earlier. It's a better beer. And then the one I have for when that runs out is the Birra Moretti beer, which I really like.
The even better beer.
The even better beer, that's right. So that's what I'm drinking. How about you, Lachlan?
Mate, I am still going alcohol-free, which has now been, I don't know, what are we up to? June? So it's been a couple of months now, so I'm on a cup of tea.
Ugh. I can't believe you're alcohol-free. How many months? 2 months?
Yeah. Which, I don't think there's been any drastic health differences, because I wasn't a massive boozer anyway, but it's got some slight upticks as far as more energy when you skip it. So that's about it. Is it worth the suffering? I don't know.
If the answer is not a resounding yes, then it's no.
Yeah.
How about you, Rubes? What are you drinking?
I got my White Russian.
Oh, it's a nice day.
Sticking with the classics.
I do like a White Russian, but I tend to get sleepy when I have them. I don't know why. They just make me want to fall asleep.
Everything makes you want to fall asleep, mate.
Not everything. Most TV shows that the girls in this house watch, yes. Cricket, yes. Rugby league, State of Origin, yes. But beer doesn't make me want to fall asleep.
Yeah, that's the real surprise right there.
Beer makes me happy. It makes me very smiley. Yeah. All right. Let's begin. So, book 4, part 3. This is enormous. I was looking at this before we start. I thought there's a point about a third of the way in where there's a dash after universe and it says recall this alternative. So I thought maybe we'll pause there, discuss the first half, and then read the second part.
Sure.
Otherwise we're trying to talk about 2 whole pages in one go. It feels a little bit too much. All right, here we go.
It's going to be the biggest single section we've come across yet. Everything else is like 1 or 2 paragraphs.
Yeah. So obviously, for someone of a man of few words like Marcus, this must have been a big entry. So, see what he says. All right, here we go. Men seek retreats for themselves, houses in the country, seashores and mountains, and you also tend to desire such things very much. But this is altogether a mark of the most common sort of men, for it is in your power to retire into yourself whenever you shall choose. For nowhere, either with more quiet or more freedom from trouble, does a man retire than into his own soul, particularly when he has within him such thoughts that by looking into them he is immediately in perfect tranquillity. And I affirm that tranquillity is nothing else than the good ordering of the mind. Constantly give yourself this retreat then, renew yourself, and let your principles be brief and fundamental, which as soon as you shall recur to them will be sufficient to cleanse the soul completely, and send you back free from all discontent, with the things to which you return. For with what are you discontented? With the badness of men? Recall your mind this conclusion, that rational animals exist for one another, and that to endure is a part of justice, and that men do no wrong involuntarily, and consider how many already, after mutual enmity, suspicion, hatred, and fighting, have been stretched dead, reduced to ashes, and be quiet at last. But perhaps you are dissatisfied with that which is assigned to you out of the universe. I'll pause there. There's a bit there.
Well, I just found out I'm the most common sort of man because I have been dreaming of a retreat away from away from it all.
Spoiler alert, so do I.
Yeah.
I think I've sent myself links for at least 10 different places in the last week alone.
Yeah. So I guess we're probably like I guess like what he's saying. Yeah, it's a pretty common thought for blokes to sort of go. You know what I really need is just to kind of get away from it all, bit of peace and quiet, no mobile signal, get off the grid, get away from people.
Yeah.
It still sounds good. I don't care if he thinks it's common.
Well, this is how I would counter Mr. Aurelius is I want to live in accordance with nature, closer to nature. Because where I am, it's a busy place. Like we're all in Sydney, it's busy. So,
but we should forget about all that and meditate. I think, right? That's his message. That doesn't sound as much fun as like buggering off and moving to the mountains or something, though.
Well, I don't know. I think like maybe his point is it doesn't matter where you go, you're still going to be there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Wherever you go, you take yourself with you. Yeah. So, is that a good check then? Is the reason we're looking to move our place of dwelling, is it to flee from ourself or is it to flee from other problems? That might be a good way to think about it.
Other people in my case, but but I think like even he starts to sort of talk about that. You know, you're with what are you discontented? You know, the badness of men, and that's exactly what he's kind of talking about. I don't know, enduring that. That's interesting. The thought there. I guess. Yeah, I mean, is he sort of saying it's the coward's way out? You know, you're kind of like, running away from problems, and you should just sort of get in there and face it. That's part of what you got to face up to as a man in the world.
That might be what he's saying to himself because he's emperor. And as emperor, maybe there's no escape. Like maybe he knows there's no way out here.
I affirm that tranquility is nothing else than the good ordering of the mind.
How does one achieve good ordering of the mind?
Well, I also wonder how well ordered your mind's going to be if your hand's stuck on a hot stove.
Yes. You would be like, oh, good grief, that is causing a lot of pain and it smells weird. I should redact my hand from that surface.
Also, I'm hungry.
Does anyone have any bacon? Yeah.
That's kind of where the difficulty lies, right? I mean, he's right, but he's not all the way right.
Yeah, I've often... Oh, sorry, continue.
Although, if you read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, he kind of comes around it to the same conclusion from a different angle. like because he talks about what happened to people once they were stripped of everything, and the ones that survived and the ones that didn't. So I don't know. Maybe he's still right.
I think it's right, but you make a good point. Like, there's still physical experience. Not everything is of the mind and intellectual. And I've often thought about that. Like, I would think one of the most terrifying sicknesses for someone who was a proper Stoic would be like dementia or Alzheimer's. Because how do you overcome that? Like, you might be able to overcome suffering and, like, I've got a crippled leg or I can't walk, but when you're actually losing the ability to recall anything and think, I think that's where the Stoic idea of how to live to the end sort of unravels.
Oh, I suppose the thing is, you maybe you wouldn't notice it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I mean, everyone else will, but you may not. Yeah. Sorry, that came across a bit dark, but
Oh, look, not all the ideas that we talk about are going to be super light ones.
yeah.
Or any
But I do think there is something in the retreat. I think for a lot of times it probably is a level of escapism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's probably just more that being trapped in work and things that don't necessarily feel meaningful or productive, like in themselves, perhaps. And we can wrap it up in our mind as a package of getting back to nature and getting away from modernity. But there probably is a level of escapism there.
How many blokes do you reckon? Cause I don't know. I think I just always assumed that blokes all dream self sufficiency. Like that's the ultimate dream for men. Is just I don't need anyone else. I've got everything sorted. I don't rely on anyone. But I don't know whether that's true. Is that universal? Is that a universal desire?
Maybe not. It's certainly, I think, maybe this group's desire, but but maybe we're in our own echo chamber here. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think, like, again, I don't like the word spectrum being used for many different things, but I think there is an element of you don't want to be completely isolated and alone, but you need to be able to weather the storm. I think that's sort of how I think about it.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about isolation. I'm talking about self-sufficiency, and you can have that, and you can have that for the purpose of sharing it.
But we all know there'll come a point in life for us where we don't have it.
What's that?
Like we all know that unless we die an instant death from a crocodile or something, that you're likely to have parts of life where you can't be self-sufficient.
Well, I mean, that's inevitable if you really boil it down. I mean, I don't think anyone's truly self-sufficient. Like, I mean, I don't know, maybe you've got some hermit that can live out in the forest by himself, but ultimately none of us are self-sufficient, and particularly not in our society because it's impossible. Right? You can do it.
Yeah, but I hear your point.
But you could look at a different society like the Amish or something like that.
Their community is somewhat self-sufficient, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah. But I suppose...
But even them, like more broadly speaking, you probably couldn't consider them self-sufficient either. Depending on how far you zoom out, because they're only able to live because they live isolated from a larger community, you know what I mean? Like they live as part of I call it the American Empire, you know what I mean? If they didn't live in America, they would have to think about protecting themselves. The only reason they don't have to think about that is because they live in a safe country like America. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I think just this side of in this world, it's just an impossibility.
I wonder if it's something closer to what we're talking about is the ability to make our own decisions and live by the consequences without needing someone else to hold our hand. Do you think it's something closer to that?
That's a better middle ground, yeah. But I know that not all blokes want that one.
Yeah. I think that's one of the defining factors between someone being a man and a boy, is that they're willing to back themselves and make their own decisions and accept the consequences either way.
I think for a lot of people, though, it's a pure fantasy exercise anyway.
Even giving up the opportunity, they may not actually take it.
Yeah, well, the reality is, and like I am somebody who prides myself on being somewhat self-sufficient, and I don't mean that like producing my own food, but I just mean I'm quite good at just kind of getting on and doing things, and I like to be able to do things myself. I don't like, in fact, I hate asking for help. I actually hate it. Hate to ask for help. So it really takes a lot for me to do that. So, but I think for a lot of people, they don't like being the only one to be sort of like to be self-reliant and to not have someone to help them do bits and pieces. They need it all the time. If you said, hey, we'll give you an opportunity here, you can go live on a 40-acre property. It's got rainwater tanks. You've got solar. Everything else is on you. You're going to be completely self-reliant and self-sufficient. They wouldn't take it. There's no way. I'd take it, but I wouldn't be under any illusions that it'd be like
easy. No,
and it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
But I think there's something to be said for that kind of hard work and I don't know, being able to do that yourself. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's probably not for everyone.
Well, but for most of human history, it has been.
Yeah, but I think that's necessity, though, right? Like,
yeah.
What's that experiment? I can't remember what it was. Maybe like in the 1920s or something. And the guy had like a mouse colony, and he set about trying to make mouse utopia, right? As a social experiment. So he had like 50 mice, gave them as much food as they could possibly want, enough water, what they could want, perfect society, right? So they don't have to fight to survive. And what he found is that the societies all collapsed because there was no struggle. They went and then
they stopped breeding. Apparently, they stopped breeding, and they sort of started almost self-harming.
Well, some of them became narcissistic and sat in a corner and just groomed themselves all day. And I don't know. So it's just people I think need some struggle. I think struggle is part of the human condition, and when you take that out, I think we lose something. So I think there's
that's why exercise is so good for us. You got to do hard stuff every week.
Yeah, I think so. So I think if you've got to do hard stuff, I think like trying to be self-sufficient is a pretty good way to do that if that's your option. But...
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's keep going.
That's right. So now he's listing
the alternative.
He basically said, find tranquility in correct thinking, and he's like, he's basically saying, what's the matter with you? Why wouldn't you? And he said that he started off with what was the first thing he said? Oh yeah, you're worried about how bad people are.
Yeah,
and I think that's where we paused, and he's up to, but perhaps you are dissatisfied with which is assigned to you in the universe. I think that's what we're up to.
Yep. Okay, here we go. Recall this alternative. Either there is providence or random atoms, or remember the arguments by which it has been proved that the world is a kind of political community, and be quiet at last. But perhaps corporal things will still fasten upon you. Then consider also that the mind does not mingle with the breath, whether moving gently or violently, when it has once drawn itself apart and discovered its own power. And think also of all that you have heard and assented to about pain and pleasure, and be quiet at last. But perhaps the desire of that thing called fame will torment you. See how soon everything is forgotten, and look at the chaos of infinite time on each side of the present, and the emptiness of applause, and the changeableness and want of judgment in those who pretend to give praise, and the narrowness of the space within which it is circumscribed, and be quiet at last. For the whole earth is a point, and how small a nook in it is this your dwelling, and how few are there in it, and what kind of people are they who will praise you? This then remains. Remember to retire into this little territory of your own, and above all, do not distract or strain yourself, but be free, and look at things as a man, as a human being, as a citizen, as a mortal. But among the things readiest to your hand to which you shall turn, let there be these two. One is that things do not touch the soul, for they are external and remain immovable. But our perturbations come only from the opinion which is within. The other is that all these things which you see change immediately, and will no longer be, and constantly bear in mind how many of these changes you have already witnessed. The universe is transformation, life is opinion.
Before we go anywhere, someone needs to look up what perturbations means.
It's being perturbed, being annoyed.
Oh, have you looked it up, or you just happen to know that?
No, I happen to know it. Yeah.
Okay, but our perturbations can only.
Did I say it not quite correctly? Would it be more perturbations, or?
I've never actually used it in that way, but perturbed is something.
Yeah.
Is familiar to me, but
I feel like I need to use that word moving forward. It was part of my.
Yeah. Perturbate, is that a thing? Is that something you can do? Are you a perturbator? Oi, stop perturbating.
So perturbation is anxiety or mental uneasiness, or a deviation of a system, moving object or process from its regular or normal state or path caused by an outside influence.
Okay, so can one perturbate?
Yes, one can indeed use the verb perturbate. While less common than perturb or disrupt, perturbate is a valid word and is often used to describe the act of disturbing or altering something.
So can one be a perturbator?
What was that, sorry?
Can one be a perturbator?
I guess so. One could perturbate the situation.
Yep, I'm bringing it back.
Perturbates.
yeah, stop, perturbate, and listen.
Yes.
You're always going to take it too far, don't you?
You bunch of perturbators. That's great.
Just know Timmy's going to work that into the title somehow.
Oh yeah, it'll be there. You watch. And then I'll get a strike on YouTube. Now, the emptiness of applause part, that reminded me of Shakespeare. Is it Macbeth, or I think it's Macbeth, where he's talking about the role on a stage as an idiot.
Yeah,
I can't quite remember the
speech.
Can't quite remember the quote. Let me find the quote. I can't say it like that and then not. Yeah, Macbeth stage quote.
On a side note, if you like Macbeth, you have to see Denzel Washington play Macbeth.
I know you've said that before. I need to watch it. Yeah.
He's so good.
Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Yeah, that's the one. Doesn't it start off with tomorrow, but tomorrow or something like that? I don't know.
I don't remember. The reason I really know that quote, like front of mind, is that I believe it's in a Marilyn Manson song.
All right.
And I remember that part going, oh, that's Macbeth. Yeah.
It's ironically like a similar quote in Rick and Morty, where it's
Okay.
like slightly different, but he's like, your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Ooh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's not bad from something that's so lowbrow, but anyway.
Yeah.
I love that. I will have to use that again.
I wonder if it probably comes from something else.
I'm sure it must, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get to the text. So, I like that part about the mind not mingling with the breath, how the breath can get its own power and do its own thing. Because obviously it's talking about the anxiety or being perturbed. But that's something like I've worked on a lot. I had a lot of asthma as a kid, and asthma attacks sucked. And swimming sort of helped get on top of that. And part of that was like having disciplined counts with the breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out while you're doing your swimming. And then after that, like I've used box breathing techniques to sort of reset if I'm feeling stressed, or even if I've got like a really bad flu or a cough or something, like getting your breathing under control takes a lot of effort. So I can relate to that. I think that's a good way to describe it.
I liked the line shortly after that, and look at the chaos and the infinite time on each side of the present. It's like, like past and future stretch out on either side of you, but ultimately you can only really experience that in the present.
Yeah, it's similar to the small blue dot speech that was done more recently than this was.
Well, it's all in T.S. Eliot as well.
No, keep things in perspective. That's pretty good. Pretty sure that in older translations, the part where it says, do not distract or strain yourself, but be free, look at things as a man, instead of saying as a citizen, it says as a Roman. Like there's a little bit more.
Yeah, I like that.
Sounds a bit more masculine. Be a Roman.
That's it.
I like
That's
it.
like his little concluding bit, isn't it? Is he gives you two things. One is that things do not touch the soul. The other is all these things which you see change immediately.
And that bit about like not touching the soul, and it's actually sort of leaning back onto some of that Epictetus too about the opinions, and that opinions only harm them if you choose to let them so,
Yeah, and it reminds me of Socrates and Plato, that whole hierarchy that they lay out of things that are changing and things that aren't changing, and the forms are ultimately the things that don't change and therefore more valuable and all that sort of gear.
Yep, I think we get that. Shall we move on to 4?
Let's go for it.
Right.
Okay, here we go. If our intellectual part is common, the reason also in respect of which we are rational beings is common. If this is so, the reason which commands us what to do and what not to do is also common. If this is so, there is a common law also. If this is so, we are fellow citizens. If this is so, we are members of some political community. If this is so, the world is in a manner of a political state. For what other common political community will anyone say that the whole human race are members? And from this common political community, comes also our very intellectual faculty and reasoning. Our very intellectual faculty and reasoning faculty, and our capacity for law, or else from where do they come? For as my earthly part is a portion given to me from certain earth, and that which is watery from another element, and that which is hot and fiery from some peculiar source, for nothing comes out of that which is nothing, and nothing also returns to non-existence, so also the intellectual part comes from some source. It seems like pretty on point, and then you get to the four elements thinking. And it's the last airbender time.
You'd have to agree with his conclusion at the end of that, though. For nothing comes out of that which is nothing, and nothing also returns to non-existence. Which, in some ways, kind of sounds obvious, but in other ways, you realise that that's not necessarily accepted by everyone, at least not explicitly, or not tacitly.
Yeah, like none of that comes out of a vacuum, and he's just laying out the patchwork for how that's developed and possible, I suppose, as far as the intellectual part goes.
It's interesting. I'd have to give that one a little bit more thought, to be honest, because he's almost like laying down a foundation for, why government, why community, why all of those things necessarily exist. I don't know whether I agree with it or disagree with it. I'd have to think about it.
Is it pointing to like the first written record of globalists?
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
Marcus Aurelius was the original head of the United Nations.
It's yeah. I don't know that I do agree with it either, because it's because while he keeps zooming out, right? So he's starting up close, and then he's sort of like zooming out on the society. And we're looking at things like he's like using like common law as a reference point, and like political community and what have you, political state. But all states and communities would be different, though, right? So
yeah, well, he makes a jump to political too. I'm not exactly sure what he means by political.
Maybe there's just not a better word for it at the time.
Could be a translation thing too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe when he's saying like as a political community, I don't think he maybe means politics, but it's just that there's a structure and a hierarchy within the society.
Yeah, it's probably
like an ecosystem.
And I mean, I guess in that sort of sense, like that's true. They may all be different, but there would be a structure and so forth. But I don't know. I mean, you could say that, but then he's sort of like zooming out and out to the world. So if this is so, the world is in a manner a political state. Well, I suppose that is still true. It's just they don't necessarily all align. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, they certainly don't align.
Yeah, I just wonder if it was a lack of language or category at the time.
It's just from there. It's just from all that structure, and then it's kind of the leap to, and from there, from this common political community comes also a very intellectual faculty and reasoning faculty, capacity for law. I'm not quite sure what he's trying to say there. It's almost like this structure is informing our logos or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how applicable this is, but dude called, I think it's J.D. Unwin or something. He wrote a book where he went and studied all of the material he could on um, primitive communities. And then C.S. Lewis, not C.S. Lewis, Chesterton also said something about it in a similar vein, where those communities only really started to develop once they developed like a shared spirituality. So, almost like a common purpose. And then from there, it seems like, I wonder if that's where like the higher order political orders start to come. Like, yeah, like C.S. Lewis, not C.S. Lewis, Chesterton critiques, I'm probably butchering this, like critiques the idea of the social contract. He's like, there's no evidence that people sat down once and said at any point and went, you know what, let's make a contract. We'll agree this for that reason and this for that reason. He's like, there's no evidence of that, but there's plenty of evidence of people agreeing not to strike each other in the holy places.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. There's something there.
For me, it just feels like, I guess the base of what he's trying to do is say that there's like a commonality in mankind. I think that's probably what he's trying to say.
Yeah. Which I think, I think.
Well, that you got to put in the context at the time. That would be a bit outside the box thinking, because they definitely were into the having slaves and servants, and they, was an empire. That if you weren't Roman, you were a second-class citizen, and so there was some other things to take into consideration there.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder how radical the idea would have been.
You'd have to think it would pretty damn radical, because I think they'd be looking at those neighboring provinces as barbarians, even if they had been conquered by the Roman Empire.
Yeah, and he's like, they're just people like us, So it's interesting. All right, let's keep going. Number 5. This one's a bit easier to consume, so here we go. Death is such as... Oh my gosh, I'm going to start that again. I feel like I just ate a stutter bug or something. I'm going to have a swig of beer, that'll help. Okay. Death is such as generation is, a mystery of nature, composition out of the same elements, and a decomposition into the same, and altogether not a thing of which any man should be ashamed, for it is not contrary to the nature of a reasonable animal, and not contrary to the reason of our constitution.
So what did you say about more digestible?
Well, how about this? How put it this way? Instead of a bowl of porridge, we had a bite-sized piece of rock. Actually, I was thinking about this morning. At our sermon, it's not the sermon, the kids' talk this morning at church, they talked about how once sin into the world, all these death and disease and stuff entered into the things. And I was thinking, I don't think death wasn't in the world before sin happened, because it's part of our design. And I think if you read Genesis, it says, like, after Adam and Eve eat from the tree of the fruit of knowledge, basically God's like, oh, we can't let them stay because they'll eat from the tree of life and live forever. So before any judgment's been passed, it's already clear, like, they need to have access to this thing that keeps them alive, and being separated from that and sent out of the garden is what makes them no longer live forever. So by design, I believe they were designed mortal, and part of that is because when children are developed in the womb, the way you get fingers is the cells and flesh between the fingers are programmed to die before you're born. So it's like, that's part of the design of being human. So I was like, I don't think death is necessarily. Well, I don't think mortality, is necessarily not in accordance with God's original plan, and it's in accordance with nature. So I think he's right. Like, it's in accordance with nature for death to happen. I don't know. That was just I don't know if it's relevant, but that's what I was thinking about this morning when I heard that kids talk. I'm like, I think that's an oversimplification. Anyway, kids talks often are oversimplifications, so I can't be too critical of that.
Yeah. I think it sounded. Well, I took it on the way Marcus did, I suppose, rather straightforward fashion. It's process of life. Like we say with the ash to ashes and dust to dust. Your body returns to what came from before. So you return to the earth from which you came. It actually sounds quite Christian the way he's put it there, but
yeah, return to that from whence you came. Yep. No, I agree. What's the distinction between not contrary to the reason of our Constitution? What does that mean?
Like,
Sorry,
I think you could probably change the word to like logic. It's not contrary to like the way that to what we are. The logic of what we are.
Right.
Maybe. Yeah. I'm just changing words.
Yeah, it's in keeping with the way that we are. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Number 6. It is natural that these things should be done by such persons. It is a matter of necessity, and if a man will not have it so, he will not allow the fig tree to have juice. But by all means bear this in mind, that within a very short time both you and he will be dead, and soon not even your names will be left behind.
Well, that one feels a bit more cryptic.
Yeah, what is he talking about? Like, what?
Yeah, it's like sort of starting in the middle of a sentence there, sort of, or a middle of a thought. Yeah.
It is natural that these things should be done by such persons. What things and what type of people?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I think he's saying if a man sets his mind to it, he'll make sure a fig tree can't have juice.
I feel like you've got someone and something very specific in mind here, and he's penned it down.
Yeah.
It's in his diary, and we don't know who he's talking about, but they've just left it there and kept it.
But damn him and his fig tree juice. Damn him.
And he's like, and we'll both be dead.
Yeah.
And no one will remember us. But we do remember Marcus. No idea who this bloke was.
Yeah, that's right.
What the fuck's that to do with it either?
I think the lesson here is don't be a dick, don't have ego. You're not going to live forever.
Don't
yeah,
have
and
a
the
fig
bloke
tree.
writing about you might turn out to be famous.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. All right, let's keep going. Number 7. Take away your opinion, and then there is taken away the complaint. I have been harmed. Take away the complaint that I have been harmed, and the harm is taken away.
Brilliant.
Oh my gosh.
He must have been on the good stuff when he was writing these passages out. Just dropping those gems.
Imagine using that in HR at work, guys. You come to me, you've made a complaint. Now, withdraw the complaint, and there is no complaint.
My job here is done. It feels like something that like Dwight on The Office would say.
Yeah.
I'm really upset about this. Okay. How about have you tried not being upset about it?
Imagine that complaint you had is gone. Don't you feel better?
It feels like the ultimate man troll. Like, that feels like something Andrew Tate would say. It's so funny. All right, now let's park our silliness for a minute. I hear what he's saying. If someone says something to you and it like hurts your ego, I think that's the sort of example here. It's not I've been stabbed by a dagger. So there is something to it, but gosh, it's funny.
Yeah, he says take away your opinion. That's assuming there's room for opinion.
Yeah.
Where if someone stabs you, there's an objective measure there. He's talking about in the realm of opinion, I think.
Just imagine that knife's not there, Ruben. That's all you got to do.
Yep.
Then you have no problem.
Oh, can you imagine saying this to some wound up Karen? You know, like,
oh, it'd be glorious.
Take away your opinion. Then the complaint you have will be gone.
That thing you feel, that outrage, that pain, that harm, that's just an opinion. Let it go.
Yeah. You seem like someone that would like Frozen. Do you know the song? Oh, gosh.
If it makes you feel any better, I've already forgotten what your complaint was. I'm helping you.
Oh, this is a highlight. This is one that needs to be kept front of mind. This is going to be something I trial the next time I'm on the edge of having an argument with my beautiful wife. I'll try this line. Just take away your opinion, and you'll be taking away the complaint. It's going to be so funny.
Actually, this could work. You know how you have like complaints boxes and things? Give them a piece of paper and say, "Here, I want you to write down what happened, what your complaint is, what your opinion of what happened is, and then give it to me." And then they give it to you, and you just put it in the shredder.
Yeah.
And you go, "Look, go on."
Come on, surely you're gonna have a cigarette lighter. It's just so much more.
That problem is now gone. Isn't that wonderful?
Welcome. Yeah, you're just gonna say you're welcome, and then turn around and walk away.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's get back into it. Number 8. All right, here we go. That which does not make a man worse than he was, also does not make his life worse, nor does it harm him either from within. From without or from within. That's interesting. I mean, it makes sense. But then straight away, I feel like, where's the example where that doesn't make sense? Like, that's what I'm sort of trying to sniff out.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Does not make a man worse. Also does not make his life worse.
To me, that sounds like justification for low-level vices.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Like, for example...
Little rum's all right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yep. Or, bit of window shopping with the eyes. That sounds a bit like... doesn't matter what you look on at. Doesn't matter what you look at on the menu as long as you eat at home. That's what that sort of sounds like.
I've heard that one before.
Yeah, I've worked around a lot of truck drivers.
Fair enough.
But yes, that's sort of what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's like saying don't sweat the small stuff. Would that be another way of saying it?
Yeah, maybe.
I think he's still harping on about the whole, find that inner peace and that tranquility, and that's where your strength is.
Mm.
It's like when something bad happens, if you take that stance, then it hasn't hurt you. And if it hasn't hurt you, you being the object of life, then your life is not worse.
Yeah.
I think I'm assuming that he's angling towards that same vein again.
I think so. Number 9 is really confusing. I'm not really sure we're going to be able to do anything with it, but it just says the nature of that which is universally useful has been compelled to do this.
If it's good for everyone, then it must be that way.
Like the nature of that which is useful
Maybe he's saying
has been compelled to do it.
Is he like saying that's like part of like intelligent design or something? Like it's universally useful because it's been designed to be so? Like
maybe?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's good because it's good. Is it a little bit circular?
It's meant to be that way. If it's good for everything or everyone, universally, then it's meant to be that way. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. All right, let's do one more, and then we'll wrap it up because we're all tired.
Yeah.
And it's late. So here we go. Number 10. Consider that everything which happens justly, and if you observe carefully, you will find it to be so. I do not say only with respect to the continuity of the series of things, but with respect to what is just, and as if it were done by one who assigns to each thing its value. Observe then as you have begun, and whatever you do, do it in conjunction with being good, and in the sense in which a man is properly understood to be good. Keep to this in every action.
Do it in conjunction.
That's interesting.
In the sense in which a man is properly understood.
That sounds like a whole lot of predestination.
If you observe carefully, will you find that everything that happens justly?
So is that like something bad happens to you, but it's because maybe you need to learn like a lesson or something? Is that like sort of where we're going here? Like, because like not everything happens to you is good, and so you may argue that it's unjust, right?
I think it might tie into thinking about things being in accordance with nature. So if it's happened, it happened in nature, so it's correct.
Is it kind of still that whole thing about what happens, and it's a matter for yourself as to make your peace with it internally?
Yeah, I think so. I was speaking to you about this the other day, Rubes. Like, I find myself more and more going back to thinking about things of if they're in accordance with nature. I find it such a helpful way to look at what is happening. And because there's always things happening with relatives and family and stuff, and it just, if you consider like each person's personality and their nature, then it makes sense that they've made the choice they've made. and then you look at like the state of the world, and well, that makes sense as well. Like I think it's right. I think what he's saying is mostly right. I'm just not sure if it's just. I don't know if just was the best use of word there. I think you could say it's meant to be. That's probably easier to say.
Yeah, because it's like everyone says, like everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
I think maybe that's what he's trying to get at. But you're right. Like I was tripping over just as well because I'm like, not everything's just like, but there's maybe something you can still like learn or benefit from something that's maybe not ideal that happens, but it's hard to argue just, but yeah, maybe it's a translation thing as well. I don't know.
Yeah, it just feels, I don't know, maybe because we've read the Republic, we've thought about just and justice quite a bit in recent memory, but the idea of everything being just, I don't think that feels correct. But everything being in accordance with nature generally feels correct.
Like, you mean it makes sense
Yeah.
when you look at the nature of people. The things that happen make sense.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's still, like, things happen to people and they go, oh, this is a senseless accident or a senseless crime. You know, you hear that expression sometimes. Because, you know, the person sometimes that's impacted by the event, it wasn't in accordance with their nature for that outcome to have occurred, but whatever triggered it, it was probably in accordance of nature for it to have occurred. So you can still find a way where it kind of logically makes sense, but doesn't necessarily mean it emotionally makes sense, or it means sense from a perspective of, was it just, was it justice, was justice served, that sort of thing. I don't think it stretches that far.
Yeah, I don't quite know what to make of that one.
I wonder if it's because I'm a Protestant. Like, with Calvinism and all those, like, we believe in predestination and free will coexisting, but also that the world isn't just and that we're waiting for justice. So I wonder if that's why it's sort of, when I read that, that's what stands out to me, is like, but things aren't just, like, there isn't justice. I wonder if that's part of the problem, is my current understandings of the world.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's too many different, like, understandings of each of the terms in there to really make too much sense of it. I don't really get it.
If you could change the word just to many other words, I think it would make complete sense, but it's just that word just, it doesn't feel quite right.
Yeah, like, if you just change that to, like, logically, then I'd be like, oh yeah, I get it. But I don't know whether that's what he meant.
Have you been able to find any other translation there, Lachlan? Were you having a look?
Yeah, I was sort of digging around there, but the other one I'd sort of found was still using the word just in it. So
we might have to find a commentary on that one.
Yeah.
That's all right. We can do that later. Well, that'll do, gents. I really appreciate you both getting on. We're all busy dudes with high-pressure jobs and families and all those different things that happen when we get in our 40s. The midlife life, as it is. I was saying before, my back went earlier this week. I could barely reach my kneecaps. It was not good.
If anyone actually watches this and sees how tired we all are, they'll understand why it's been 2 months since we did the last one.
That's right, but we'll do more. We're not paid to do this. We do it out of love and passion, and sometimes that means we string a few in a row, and sometimes that means we miss a few in a row. So we'll see how we go. But yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. So for everyone, the Republic wasn't built in a day, and neither were we. And yeah, we'll catch you all next time. Thanks very much. Bye.
Catch ya.